Keep it. We're not saying that on camera.
This is a big one, guys. This is a big day. I just drove over 2 hours to see my buddy Zach Dunn. Oh, lint on the lens. See my buddy Zach and his 510. And I'll give you a fun story about Zach. When we first moved to Washington, Emily and I had like no friends. Literally, we knew maybe 2 people. And then those 2 people like moved out of Washington. And so Emily and I went to a car meet and I heard Zach saying to somebody, hey, that's Mike. He has a show called Kugai Club and he has a Corolla that he's building. And then I overheard him saying it at a car meet after we bought our Chaser. So then Emily walks up and I'm like, hey, so Zach, you want to be friends? And now we're friends. And now fast forward to a year later and I'm at his house shooting his car. So, hey, Zach, thanks for being my friend, pal.
Yeah.
What year is it? What is it? What am I looking at?
On paper, it's a 70, but it's more like it's a really late 69, so it's got like these markers instead of like the round ones and stuff. Just stupid stuff like that. It's got a sweeper dash, which is different. I got the car back in 2014, and when I got it, it had a single cam KA in it, and no bumpers. Like most of the chrome was gone, and I got it for cheap. It was a buddy that needed to get rid of it because he was selling his place and just needed to downsize.
Yeah.
And so
69 Datsun 510.
Yep.
So what have you done to it?
I put a S14 SR in it. The KA that was in it would lose oil pressure when it got hot, and since it was a single cam, I wasn't gonna like rebuild it. And 10 years ago, SRs were sub $1,000.
They were, yeah, they were cheap.
So it made sense to just put an SR in it. Being that it was already KA, most of the hard work was already done to do like the change.
Yeah.
So
KA to SR is an easy one.
yeah. There was still like a couple things that needed to be changed, like the steering link has to be flipped because it hits the oil pan on an SR because it's thicker.
Sure.
Silly stuff like that. But Auto Hero Ray helped me a bunch, building like some of the exhaust, doing the wiring, and yeah, it's been in it for almost 10 years now. And
The same SR?
yeah, I just changed the oil and
The same SR has been in here for 10 years.
yeah.
Wow. Holy cow. Suspension, what'd you do?
Suspension's kind of a weird mix. It's all kinds of stuff. It's like custom coilover in the front. It's got adjustable lower control arms, T3 tension rods and tie rods. Next up is putting a sway bar on the front because right now it doesn't have one at all.
Oh,
I'm
so
gonna
it's
do a
drifty
Urbish
boy.
one.
Super soft up there, huh?
It actually like feels pretty good, so I'm kind of curious to see like how much better it can feel.
Okay.
The back has got a Dot Sport adjustable rear subframe because factory they have 0 adjustment, camber or tow.
Oh, wow.
So when you lower them, they get all weird.
I could tell that you definitely need a lot of camber back there. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, so adjustable rear subframe, and then all the bushings or everything are like poly. It's all been replaced.
Nice.
Yeah, despite the looks of the car, underneath it's pretty solid.
Speaking of solid, wheels and tire setup. You don't have to say offset, but you got to say what size you're running at least.
Yeah, so 13 by 9 and 10 SSR Mark IIs.
Wow.
Which were redone by rear spec wheels up in BC. Got them redone to fill in the flares better. Brakes are all stock 510, so it's still drum in the back and still stock 510 brakes in the front. You're pretty limited since I'm running 13s.
Yeah.
It stops fine. It's not like I'm doing like track days with it, so.
Got it.
It's got Porterfield pads on it and like stainless lines, so at least it's got a little bit of
Good enough.
good bite.
Do you mind if you pop the hood?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what's under. So, S14 SR, been in here for 10 years.
Not turbo.
Non-turbo. That's probably why.
why it's
There it is. Oh, there's the secret.
So Auto Hero intake, and then it's running a turbo manifold into a custom downpipe because that was the easiest way to clear the steering box. Someday I would like to get like a really nice actual like high-rise header.
No frills, just the motor, no AC,
Yeah, no AC, no power steering, manual brakes.
and no assist
manual
off the manifold, none of that,
Yeah,
right?
no.
Electric fan or no fan?
Electric fan.
Oh,
it's
okay, in the front. Pusher,
yeah.
huh?
Yep. This
Got
is
it.
like a old CX Racing, I think, like SR swap.
But it worked
Radiator.
perfectly, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, and then you did your own like cleaning up of wiring, I see, with your custom fuse box here, or relay box or whatever.
Yeah, so like I said, Ray did the wiring, so like anything that wasn't needed was removed. like really nice lube.
Yeah.
Goes through the firewall, the ECU's up under the dash. Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to it.
But I mean, do you really need a whole lot on a, how much does a 510 weigh?
Around 2,000 pounds.
If that?
Yeah.
Wet? So I mean, how much do you think the NA SR makes?
Probably around 150 wheel. I think they're rated at 160 crank.
Yeah.
So there's, you know, a lot of people that do the turbo SRs, you can't run the factory turbo with the steering box. So you have to like do a top mount with like a T3, and then you're like 350 horse, and then you're like,
why?
Burnouts everywhere. And
yeah.
Like, I don't know, to me that doesn't sound. I do drive it a lot, not like super far distances. I did take it to the Powerland Datsun meet a few years ago, I guess before like pandemic happened.
Yeah.
So that was like the longest single trip I've done, but I am going to drive it down to Laguna Seca this year for car weeks and historics.
Yeah.
Which is in August, so that'll be the longest trip I've ever done in it. But yeah, I drive it fairly often.
Yeah, you do. And we don't live close to each other, and you drive down to where I live quite often.
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Basically twice a month.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, right.
This is the sweeper dash I was talking about, whereas the other like later models have like the 2 pods for the attack and speed up.
This very American Pontiac vibe.
Yes,
Style, exactly.
So yeah, we got Momo, Indy steering wheel, got Moon Ice tack, floor mats. Just did the gauges for the past like about 10 years. I haven't had any gauges either.
Yeah.
So I've just been running the SR like on pure, you know, ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. What shifter is this? This looks pretty nice, man.
Circuit Sports or something maybe?
Wow, shit! They make it for 510?
Well, SR. And then this is just an eBay like replica, you know, old school like motorsport seat.
Yep.
They were cheap. It used to have an old Corbeau in it, but the bottom blew out, so I had to do something, and so
it's mounted very low.
This is what I did. Yeah. I mean, I'm 6'3" so to get in here, this is mounted real low, real far back.
Yeah.
And then if you notice, I've got full size hub, and then I think this is like a 2-inch spacer to bring the steering wheel out far enough.
Oh, you do have that, right?
Fortunately, when you run a SR, it actually brings the transmission back quite a ways, so it's perfect for me. Because like the factory hole is like about here.
Oh, nice
so
cover.
I'd be like reaching for it.
Is this a SR trans still, or is this KA trans?
SR trans.
Wow. Okay, so then everything's basically SR, huh?
Yep. Yeah. Custom drive shaft from Drivelines Northwest.
Yeah, I went there. They're the best.
Yeah.
I love how they coat everything when you get it back. Like,
it's like
is this steel it? What is this? Sick.
Yep.
My favorite part about this is you kept a lot of the old school vibes. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be like Holley digital dash. It doesn't have to be. It's just like old
I'm
analog.
Definitely pretty period correct.
I love it.
Kind of style. The quarter panel was cut here, so I'd like to get this piece and bring this back down because it looks different than the other side.
Oh, really? You can barely tell. Now that you pointed it out.
So if you go look at the other side,
you could see on the flare, huh? Like it doesn't.
Yeah, you got it like right where this body line is, so I don't have this.
Oh well,
so
it's fine.
That's there is a company that makes like those replacement panels, but I just got to figure out how to do it and not lose the look. You know?
Right, the vibe. Well, we can.
If I just spray bomb it with white spray paint over time, it'll get dirty.
I was gonna say, luckily we live in Washington, so rust is probably gonna be your friend on this one.
Doesn't take long.
Just don't seal the welds and you'll be fine. Okay, one thing I've noticed: everything in your driveway is old. There's nothing new. I mean, there's newish.
That's the newest.
Yeah, newish, and that's its own thing. We'll get into that later. I think that's in like BMW row. So we'll talk about that in a second. Why a 510? Why Datsuns? You have more than one Datsun. Why Datsuns?
First car was a 85 300ZX, hence my username 1985Z car on everything.
Yeah.
So you know that's like the year that Datsun and Nissan switched over. So.
Yep.
So always kind of was a Nissan person. Second car was an S14 Koki. I've had a 350Z. So kind of had several Nissans over the years. When I started looking, I wasn't actually looking for a 510. I wanted a 240Z or 260, 280 and S30. And was kind of browsing for one. Then, like dumb luck, I guess, my buddy had to get rid of this. And so Ray actually told me about it, but yeah, he was like downsizing and just needed to get rid of it, and it needed a bunch of work, so it was relatively cheap, especially considering today's prices.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But Yeah, other Datsuns, I don't know, I just think they're cool.
They are really cool, honestly.
Yeah.
It's actually getting close to golden hour. Luckily enough, the traffic gods got me to Zach's house just as the light got perfect. So what do you say we take it for a rip potato chip?
Yeah.
And we're gonna go to a spot where we can shoot it. I actually busted out the film camera because I need to do this car justice. And you guys will see some of the film photos in this vlog. And then we'll go and have a little photo sesh. So let's hit it. Awesome.
Yeah.
You think with me sitting shotgun it'll bottom out?
Yeah, it actually does have a heat. It's like a summit heater.
Wow!
So it's only ducted to the windshield, but it blows hard enough that like as you're driving it heats up the whole cover.
So
I just needed it to clear the windshield because of the Civic Northwest thing.
water lines on the back of the engine go into the heater here below.
Yeah.
It actually rides really smooth, dude.
Yeah, it's super comfortable.
I thought I would be bouncing a lot in here, but I am not bouncing.
It's pretty comfy.
That's
why
crazy.
it's like down to drive it to California.
Dude, this is like, honestly, I'm not even joking. Like, I'm used to And this is like a hodgepodge of suspension for you?
Yeah, it's like QA1 coilovers in the back for like a Camaro,
Yeah.
but like spring rates that are not Camaro weight.
Yeah, yeah.
And then yeah, the front the coilovers are already on it when I got it, so it's like some Hyperco springs and some kind of shocks.
Dude. Dude, it boogies.
Yeah, it's not bad. So this is that's one I was talking about.
Alright, let's do it. Alright, now that we found our spot, I'm gonna load up some Portra. I got 160 and I got 400, but the lighting still looks really good, so we'll do 160, that way there's not much noise. My Nikon F5, my nifty 50, keep it simple, I'm not bringing a bunch of lenses. And we're gonna go ahead and hopefully immortalize the 510 on some film stock.